We have a question for you. If someone wants to cross the road and a wild truck appears, who should stop? In Indonesia, if you want to live, the answer would obviously be the pedestrian. But that is not the case in Singapore. Now the question is, why? How?
This is what we found interesting in our exchange. How can different cities prioritize different ways of mobility?
Some think walking is the last option, but other cities see walking as the default way to travel.
How much is walking considered in decision making in our daily life? This is called walking culture, and that is the topic that we decide to dive deeper into.
Let's walk through the case together, shall we?
After our study in Singapore, we noticed a huge increase in our daily steps.
It was honestly a very humbling experience to feel so unhealthy.
Itu udah gak kuat. I cannot even form words karena it's so hot.
That is when we realized that the difference in walking culture in Singapore and Jogja is probably very big.
So we started to study this issue. What affects walking culture in each city? Or even, what aspect does walking culture affects in return?
We broke this down into 3 pieces: policies that affect, provided infrastructure, and also public perception.
We also scoped this study to only include the central region of Singapore and the city of Yogyakarta.
After seeing the current policies, we find out that there are differences in which policies encourage or even discourage walking in the city. First, the subsidies each city offers. Singapore heavily subsidizes the MRT, LRT, and public buses. They also tax very highly private vehicles, up to 40% or even 50% of their original price. All the while, Indonesia is currently sounding more the subsidies of private electric vehicles. There are also other policies we discussed as far as waste management and how public service announcements are provided. You can check out the full thing here.
There actually are subsidies for public transport in Indonesia, but we could only find KRL in Jogja to be subsidized. One thing is, KRL isn't even the main mode of transportation in the city.
This leads to our next question. What are the default modes of transportation in each city?
Reflecting on our daily life while we stay in Singapore, we usually commute from one place to another using MRT, bus, and even by just walking. Walking is like a part of our daily life. There isn't a day without walking. Compared to our habits in Yogyakarta, we mostly rely on private vehicles, besides being more comfortable and reliable with how the city laid out here. Walking isn't always the first choice.
But hey, that doesn't mean walking is not a thing here. Indonesia actually has a guideline that explains the walkability index, which measure how friendly an area is for walking. This index aims for the accessibility and ease for the pedestrian to reach the destination. Secondly, safety for the pedestrian. And last but not least, the convenience and security for the pedestrian by taking into account on network quality and amenities.
Next, to find out how people perceive walking, we asked around these 4 questions.
I mobilize daily by car, and one reason because we are in a not really safe environment for the current state, in state of accident, and also comfort, especially because I have child.
In Indonesian, motorcycle, because it's convenient, reliable, small, and we can ride it from here to there so fast.
Walking in Yogyakarta city is convenient in some places.
Inconvenient. Jogja very ugly to walk because there's no, the space is very limited.
Not all is due to the appropriate working space. In certain region, it's now already developed, so it's good for working. But in other area, it's not really convenient, especially because of the heat, and also the width. It's not really standardized. Sometimes we have to get out of the working space.
We cannot walk because kita nanti ketabrak. Nanti ketabrak motor dua gitu.
No, there's a reason why I use Go Ride all the time.
I have experience when I live abroad that every day I walk to work, but in Indonesia it's pretty difficult.
Bahu jalan, karena aku memang orangnya jalan friendly, but aku butuh kayak much space for pedestrian gitu biar aku mudah jalannya.
Fasilitas berupa trotoar yang tersendiri dan terpisah dari fasilitas jalan untuk pesepeda dan juga untuk pesepeda motor. Jadi biasanya kan ada yang namanya pembatas antara jalan dan juga pavement gitu, dan ini harusnya dipisah.
We just need the proper walking space that is safe. So the width is appropriate for walk, and also it's not mixed with the vehicle.
Light alongside the road.
Penerangan yang tentunya akan menjadi pemberi aspek keselamatan dan juga keamanan bagi pejalan kaki.
So, what can we take away from our study?
We learned that there are many layers that affect walking culture, and each city has its different default transportation modes. Walking may not be their main option because of the factors we just discussed.
So, as we are back here in Jogja, what can we do? We discussed and made a few policy recommendations.
Our proposal outlined practical steps to make Yogyakarta a more walkable city through spatial upgrades, including setbacks, greeneries, infrastructure improvement, incentive and disincentive to promote walking, such as property tax reduction, improve public transport integration, and smart cultural digital initiative. You can check our full recommendation by scanning this QR code.
So, what do you think? Does this make you want to change your city's walking culture?